So Emma, how would you like to use this time available to you?
Well, I suppose I really want to talk about career development, really, and where I'm heading,
Okay,
looking for perhaps a new challenge or a new role.
okay. And what might that new role or new challenge look like to you?
I don't know, really. I mean, I suppose the obvious step is team leader,
Okay,
because it's a step up and more responsibility. So,
okay. And what is
perhaps
it
that.
about being a team leader that interests you?
Um, I suppose because it's a step up. I mean, it's just, I feel that I'm quite confident in my role now, and I'm enjoying my role. But I think I am capable of moving upwards. So that seems to be the logical progression.
Okay, so if we think about, or if you think about the skills that you have, the things that you enjoy doing right now,
Hmm.
what might those skills be?
I really like talking to customers. I really like building relationships with customers. I think
Okay,
that's what I'm good at. I I enjoy that. I get a real thing. I get a real buzz out of uh, either turning a customer
yeah.
around or um, helping them out or helping them through or helping explain or explaining things through. Yeah, I really like that side of it. And I guess my other strengths are around picking up of software and processes and I'm good at not only understanding them and picking them up quickly, but being able to pass that on to customers as well.
So when you think of what your skills are, what you enjoy doing and what you're good at, and the team leader role,
Yeah,
how might the two marry?
I don't know really. I guess the team leader role isn't that customer facing. I mean, there's
Yeah.
some, I'm sure,
Yeah.
but it's more looking after the team. So I suppose, I mean, there's transferable skills there
Yeah.
around people management, but yeah, I hadn't really thought of it like that. I wouldn't be going the route of dealing with customers, which is what I actually really like.
Okay, so if you think of another role that might, or another position, or another kind of job, maybe not even in our department, in other departments, that customer facing experience, what might you imagine?
I wonder about sales,
Mm.
um, because I like the relationship building side,
Yeah.
and it combines the two strengths
Yeah.
of understanding the processes and the relationship building. So
And what?
yeah, that's something I'd quite like actually.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Mm.
I could see you in the sales team. And what kind of skills might you need to be in the sales department?
I think the skills I'd need to focus on
Yeah.
would be, being more assertive or some resilience around that, target driven. All of those things I'd need to learn,
Okay.
more so than the role I'm in at the moment.
Okay. Talking about resilience, you mentioned resilience. Tell me
Mm.
more about that.
Well, that needing to ride through the customer saying no or
Okay.
all of those things. I mean, I have some of it now, obviously, with some of the calls that I do, and I think it's something that I could develop,
Okay.
but I don't think I'm there yet for sales.
So that's interesting. So we started off the conversation where you talked about being a team leader.
Mm-hmm.
And I think from what you're saying and from the skills that you have and from what you enjoy, but also the skills that you'd like to develop,
Yeah.
it sounds to me like you've identified sales being an area that might be of interest to move into.
Yeah.
And how might you go about gaining that confidence and that knowledge?
It'd be really good to talk to people who are in sales.
Yeah.
Maybe even arrange to shadow or sit with them. Just talk to them about what their challenges are, what they find is great about the job, but also what they say are the areas and the skills that are necessary and that I could perhaps develop.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anyone in particular that you can think of that might?
I don't know people in sales that well. Lee, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do know Lee, and yeah, I could certainly talk to him.
Yeah, and he's fairly new within sales,
Yes.
so he might have an interesting perspective.
Yes,
that
he would.
is coming from the same point of view.
Yes, and I think he moved from a similar role to me,
Yeah.
so it could be a good person to talk to, and just to find out what I need, what gaps I've got, what I
Yeah.
need to really focus on.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Mm.
When might you be able to have a conversation with Lee?
No time like the present. I mean, I might as well give him a call today and you know, sort of arrange a time, see if he's up for being stalked.
Good.
A little bit.
I'm sure Lee would be up for having somebody shadow him. I'm
Yes.
sure, stalking him, as you put it. Well, the only other thing I did think about is the performance room. Have you heard about the performance room?
I've heard of it.
Yeah.
I sort of know it's there. I've
Yeah.
never used it, I have to say.
So it's an online learning resource,
Mm.
and really there's lots of loads of content and tips and tools there for you to access to gain a better idea of different roles and different departments.
Okay.
And I think there's some short articles around certain skills that you might like to build upon. So yeah, it's definitely a useful tool to access, and it's there
Yeah.
for all of us to
Yes, and I've
access.
not used it before, so definitely I'll have a look at that.
Yeah, do. I think that's wise. Is there anything else that could help you along your?
I think it'd be good to check in. I
Yeah.
think I'm going to go away and do these things and really start to explore and focus on sales. It's quite exciting, actually.
Yeah.
I haven't really thought of that before, and it feels much more suited to me than a team leader
Yeah,
role.
good.
So I'd like to come back in a week or two and check in and see how I'm doing and anything else that we can discuss to move this along.
I think that's great.